Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. I am here with Adam Old Man Winters. I'm Joe Gould, and we are here to warn you winter is coming. Winter is coming. And Groundhog Day, as we are reviewing Jack Frost, the TV special of Rankin Bass, originally aired December 13th, 1979.
Kind of the tail end of the Rankin Bass empire, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say it's the last real good one, but I really liked the Leprechaun one they did a couple
Was that in
years
the
later.
80s? The Christmas gold of the Leprechaun?
Yeah, I want to say 81. If I would like to one day buy the rights to the Leprechaun show and make a spiritual sequel and fund it and not do any of the work, but maybe write the plot. That's one of my life goals. Leprechaun's Gold Part 2. Warwick's Revenge. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Well, I feel like this movie may have some similarities to Leprechauns, but I like it better. I think it's a tighter story myself. I feel like it must have been based on some mythological tradition because it's just so tightly woven.
Or possibly The Little Mermaid.
Maybe.
Jack Frost as a Rankin Bass character who...
Complicated history.
He makes multiple appearances, and I think they're both in the same year. Yeah, so in 1979, This is the same year as Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July. We have a very different looking Jack Frost.
Been a while since I watched that one.
Yeah, he looks like a little homeless kid in that movie. There's also, and I don't have the year in front of me, Frosty's Winter Wonderland. You had an appearance in animated form of Jack Frost, and he basically looked like a portly version of the one in this movie. Yeah, so they skinnied him up. Basically, he has the frame of the bootleg Jack Frost from Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, but he's got the costume from Frosty's Winter Wonderland when he was a portly little leprechaun-looking fellow. So I don't know if the left hand wasn't talking to the right hand or what, because you basically have two appearances of Jack Frost in the same year of the Rankin Bass multiverse, and they don't seem to share continuity. But there is relative continuity in Rankin Bass overall, so it's a little quirky.
Well, we sort of agreed when we did Rudolph's Shiny New Year. The movie doesn't quite bridge perfectly from the better and more famous Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
I agree. It's been a year since we did those, but I feel like you could almost say this is the Jack Frost origin story. This is Magneto before he became a villain. This is what broke him.
Well, hold on now. So, yeah, I think that's fair. Didn't the Frosty Winter Wonderland, that, by the way, is 2D traditional cell animation? Didn't it come out a few years before this, but also in the 70s?
I believe so. It would still work, though, because this is the origin story.
So it's a prequel, but yeah, I can see that. I am about to drop a reference that's going to make me sound more highbrow cultured than I really am. I wonder if there was any effort to make this a Paradise Lost take. Rankin Bass, I don't know how deep or intentional or serious they were trying to get, but either Jack Frost is standing in for Satan or Adam, and he's sort of complaining to Father Winter about, you made me this way. You got to allow me the opportunity to succeed or fail.
Oh, I think Jack Frost hit puberty. I think that's all this is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think I'm going too highbrow with that Paradise Lost connection? Frankenstein's
I don't think
monster.
Anyone's going to ever accuse me or you of being highbrow, high culture.
Okay.
We own the books. We didn't read those books. I don't know.
Well, they're public domain, I don't have them on the shelf anywhere. But I know because Paradise Lost is a little bit of an inspiration behind the Frankenstein story. So that's the connection.
I'm not going to say it's not true. I'd have to look up Romeo Muller, who wrote this one, and get a feel for his background before I wanted to commit to anything on that. When did the Disney movie of The Little Mermaid come out? Was that later in the 80s?
That was 89. I'm going to say 89. It could have been 88. It's the Disney Renaissance after they were getting their butt kicked by Don Bluth Films every year.
Yeah.
They needed a redheaded, rebellious child.
Well, so I like this movie. I don't know if I like the narration. It just feels forced.
Buddy Hackett? What do you think about the whole Groundhog angle? Do you think it's essential? Or do you think it's overplayed?
I don't think you can say this is a movie about Groundhog's Day. Let's just put it that way.
I'm on the fence on this. Whether it's a Groundhog Day movie or a Christmas
It's
winter
not a
movie.
Groundhog Day movie. It's the little silly story of how you incidentally created Groundhog Day because of something else. I mean, it's like
But they lean heavy into Groundhog Day.
I've lost the word. Why do I always lose the word?
While you're thinking of it, when I popped the DVD in a while back,
Penicillin. Penicillin.
penicillin. Okay.
What was the original use that they were trying to get out of penicillin?
Oh yeah. I thought it had something to do with food, wasn't it?
I have no idea. But
Preservative?
they accidentally created something that kills the viruses.
Of
I feel
polio,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So this is the equivalent of, Jack Frost is trying to save the Princess Peach and accidentally created penicillin, aka Groundhog's Day. It's like it's a ramification, but it had nothing to do with what they were trying to do in the first place.
Maybe. It's interesting. It's really a full winter season movie. It's supposed to celebrate the coming and the ending of winter. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's the tug of war between winter and spring. And if you want to pull out a Groundhog on that, that's fine. But I don't think you can call it a Groundhog movie if you're Rankin Bass. Maybe they're trying to double dip and get a winter movie and a spring movie at the same time so it can get, played twice. I don't know what the plan was.
So when it premiered, it was a December movie. They showed it on one of the networks in December, not February.
So it would be curious to go back and see if you could figure out if this movie ever got aired in February.
I thought I was watching the wrong one when I selected it on my DVD, because they open with a whole bunch of magazine spins about
Time,
the Groundhog.
Reader's Digest, People, TV Guide. Yep. Go ahead,
and
sorry.
it's not Puxatawny Phil. He's Pardon Me Pete. And I wonder where he lives. Because it's a very modern opening. That's the thing. It's supposed to be present day. I forget who the reporter's modeled after. But they're all there to see if the groundhog will see his shadow on a cloudy day.
The most famous groundhog in the world. More popular than Rudolph.
Ooh.
Pardon Me Pete. And I wondered, did they get permission from Time and Reader's Digest and People and TV Guide to steal their magazine covers?
If it aired on a network in prime time, it was probably a big promotional deal from them. I don't know that I saw it in the credits, though.
Do you think that paid for Jack Frost? Do you think that's how Jack Frost got produced, was through the advertisements of Groundhog Day?
They always had those in the original airings, the sponsors. Sometimes they were even animated into it. So I don't know.
I want to see Santa Claus or Jack Frost light up a Winston, man. Maybe if we had ever gotten stop motion Flintstones, we would have gotten somebody lighting up a Winston. If you don't get what I'm referring to, then go look it up.
I guess, yeah, Winston would have the color scheme of Santa Claus, as would Marlboro.
Remember when he got skinny because he wasn't eating? He could have just been smoking too many Winstons.
I think Jack Frost would be more of a cool cigarette fella. Wasn't it KOOL? It was in all the magazines.
They could have done the candy cigarettes if nothing else.
Oh yeah, there you go.
They could have used them actually for his props. Man, missed opportunity right there. Missed opportunity right there. Yeah, so it opens up with Groundhog Day with Pardon Me Pete, and then we basically, the narration of this Rankin Bass is via flashback sequence. But go ahead.
Like the Leprechaun. The flashback within a flashback. But I think it's only one flashback, isn't it?
At some point it catches up. At one point, it gets a little confusing whether or not it's supposed to be a flashback. But yeah, I think it is just one flashback.
Okay.
Do you think Rankin Bass overdid that flashback narration thing? Like, why did they feel like they had to have a narrator? Why couldn't they just go Grinch style?
Guess they had a contract with Buddy Hackett, and he was riding high, I suppose. The Music Man had been a few years, but they wanted to put as much Buddy Hackett into this movie as possible, and this was the only way they could do it.
He could have been Snip. Snip's a little fat guy. I don't know.
I will say, it's confusing you have two characters named Snip in this movie.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but it's confusing.
Yeah, so the setup is, Pardon Me Pete comes out of his little hole, and it's a cloudy day, so he should not see his shadow. And he magically does see his shadow and scurries back into his little home, and gets cuddled up in bed for another 6 weeks. And even the newspaper guys are like, we don't really understand how that just happened. We find out later how that works, and I guess we'll save that. But
like the news media would analyze the groundhog.
Yeah. And then I mean, there's a 60 minutes expose coming on this. And then Pete decides to tell the story of Jack Frost, and I don't really remember how he bridged that gap, but he tells the story of the year that Jack Frost was visible, because all the rest of the time he's invisible.
Or just as a magic shadow. I guess you could see that.
Yeah, I guess if you're in the real world, you can see his magic shadow, but he really is attached to it. It's not a Peter Pan kind of situation, which is what it looks like initially.
Yeah, it does.
So he recounts the story of Jack Frost becoming human.
Well, first he introduces Winter Wonderland. Or it's sort of the kingdom of the clouds every time a cold front comes in.
Oh, yeah. Did they reveal the plot at the beginning? The underhandedness? I have a note that applies that they do. I mean, so maybe I will say.
The Groundhog is basically saying that's how it happens.
Yeah, so the Groundhog says he wants to sleep 6 extra weeks each year. So he uses the magic shadow, which maybe he doesn't fully understand is attached to a real boy. But it's all a show. It's all a show. And they put on this performance for the real world under this guise of Groundhog's Day of 6 weeks in the shadow. But in reality, this is pro wrestling. They're doing kayfabe. It's a work. It is not a shoot.
I'm just wondering how they got away with it for so long. As we'll see, the origin of Jack Frost and Groundhog's Day dates back a long, long time.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like all these mythical earth creatures play pretty loose with their rules. What can I say? But anyways, he recounts the story of Jack Frost. You get a Jack Frost song for the credits. You get the proper opening. I feel like the credits is a little underwhelming. The Jack Frost song I can do without. Once you get past that, then you get to the pumpkin peasants picking their crops. And these two little characters will end up semi-important. There's not really that many characters in this show. But they're picking pumpkins. They got no horses to haul their yield away with. They just got a duck and a dog.
The duck is important to this movie's plot, by the way. He's essential. I don't think the dog is.
He is, yes. The duck is no Howard, but the dog he's really filler. But they shove a lot in these 5 minutes here. So these pumpkin peasants are really in a big tax evasion scheme.
Oh, come on. They're unlawfully taxed. That's why
they are taxed and do not pay the last little shilling. And then you have this Russian horseman drive up. And apparently he's the guy.
Wait. What's his name? Kubla Khan?
I never wrote it down.
Kubla
He's a Russian. He's a Russian. I'm looking for it.
Eastern European.
He's Kubla Kraus.
Kubla
Kraus.
Klaus?
He's Kraus.
Okay. He's voiced by Boris Badenov, which I love. Boris Badenov.
He rides up. He's a fat Russian with a big beard, and he's riding a metal horse that is basically runs off coal or something.
Steam,
like that.
Isn't it?
Steam horse. He's got a warm belly. I don't know, but
it's a Clang Stomper. Is that the horse? The metal horse?
I don't know. Maybe. Yes, Clang Stomper. Clang Stomper. We also find out he's got a clockwork butler named Fetch Kvetch, an army of Knights, and a ventriloquist dummy named Dommy.
He's the star of this movie. Isn't he great?
Dommy the Dummy is the best character in this movie. He is basically the bad guy arguing with himself. The best one is when he's arguing about he wants to get the girl, and the dummy's like, "You're not going to get the girl." He's like, "But I want to try." He's like, "Well, I don't think you're going to get the girl." It's like, "But I want to try." And it's really the bad guy voicing both characters. So it's kind of good. I like it.
It just shows you how lonely he is in that big frozen castle. He's very Bowser Koopa, I gotta say.
Yes, and Rankin Bass is great because you can see the bad guy's mouth moving as he's speaking for the dummy. So it's like the little details. They didn't have to do that.
Nope.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So we're introduced to all these characters. They have a little scene after the Russian takes the taxes that weren't paid that really serves no purpose. But this little town, they're not capitalist. I don't know if they're socialist or communist or what they are.
They're make-believists. They're Bitcoin. They're into crypto. That's what they is. It's crypto.
Maybe it's crypto. It's not. Well, maybe it's ether. It does have some purpose. There's a function. Okay.
January Junction. What's town called?
Yeah, January Junction. And these little people, they in the winter time, they don't get to do this during the summer, but in the winter time, once Jack Frost comes and freezes everything, they take the icicles and they make ice money out of them. Ice coins, frozen assets, so to speak.
Literally, buddy.
And it's basically they play with Monopoly money for 3 months.
Yeah. I kind of wonder why bothering, but I guess it makes sense because people still have jobs.
Yeah, and what they're trying to get across is the bad guy, the Russian, has taken all the gold, all the wood, all the produce, all the stuff that they make. So everything they work for gets taken away by this Russian on a horse. But they make do and they're happy little poor people. And they have their ice money that they use. And at Christmas time, they give gifts that are empty boxes, but they're like wish gifts. And you just make a wish, but you don't get your wish.
Boy, that's lame, I gotta say.
And they pretend that they got a gift and that they loved it and that it's expensive. And they're
Oh,
happy. So it's like a twist on the little Whoville people.
yeah, it's a song about it. And it's like, oh, no, you shouldn't have. I wish you wouldn't have. This is pitiful.
Yeah. So they kind of weave that throughout that these are good people, but they're poor people. And I feel like they're just setting people up to be sad in life. Like if you grow up watching this movie, you're thinking, man, if I ever found myself in some little communist, socialist commune and the big ruler's taking all my stuff away, I can still be a happy little person. I should just
Forget
make my
about
pretend
revolt
Monopoly
of
money.
the. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to revolt. I'm not going to be sad. Now, Jack Frost does plan a revolt, but he's pretty
Oh,
incompetent.
man,
So,
it's epic. I love his siege of the castle. Man,
yeah.
it's great.
And I don't know. I just feel like I almost feel like this is like a Russian plant of a movie. I don't know. It's, the bad guy's a Russian, though, which is why I don't know if that quite works. But I don't know. Not a capitalist movie. Not a capitalist movie. So,
I don't know. I'd love to know the backstory of how Kubla Klaus got there.
here's how you know this is not capitalism. At the end of the movie, when they overtake the bad guy, there's no indication that they get their money back.
That's a curious thing because, yeah, you would have thought Jack Frost or whoever could have at least passed along the message. By the way, castle's clear if y'all want to go.
So Jack Frost, why does he want to be human? He's flying around.
Yeah.
He's lonely. He's a lonely little, sprite is what they call him?
Yes, he's a sprite.
I don't know what that is. Is that fairy?
Yes.
Okay. So he's
Not a video game graphic.
He's a special little fairy doing the work of Old Man Winter himself, Father Winter.
Yeah.
And he meets this girl named Elisa. I think that's how you say
Elisa,
it.
isn't it?
Elisa, Elsa. Ellie. He meets Ellie. And Ellie just loves Winter. And she loves the idea of Jack Frost.
She believes in him somehow.
She believes in Jack Frost. And she's got little snowflake eyes. And you could just see Jack. He just falls head over heels. He just turned 12. So, hormones are riding high.
And she's very much a Hans Christian Andersen inspired princess or leading lady or whatever. So, you can.
Yeah,
you can
they do a good
that.
job with her. It's like in the witch in the Leprechaun movie that they did was amazingly evil. It was just great. And I think they kind of pull off the flip of that here. They make her likable. You can see why little Jack Frost would fall head over heels for this girl, And I don't think it was on purpose, but she is out there playing with some furry little animals on a frozen lake. And the evil Cobra Kai or the Russian Kubla Klaus. Yeah, I can't say that.
King Kubla.
It's like a tongue twister. It is a tongue twister. It's Kubla Kraus. And it's like,
oh, it's not Klaus. Kraus. Oh, I can't even
Kraus.
say it then.
Yeah. And he's a Cossack king or Cossack king. Is that supposed to be anything? What's a Cossack?
Yeah, the Cossacks are sort of that Russian group, but the movie says they all left. So there's no Cossacks for him to rule over.
Oh, yeah. And he drives across the ice in his metal horse, and the heat from the engine melts the ice, and it all cracks, and she's about to die. And then Jack Frost comes and freezes the waterfall, and she slides down on a string and lands safely. And then she's really in love with Jack Frost at that point because she knows that Jack Frost saved her life.
I think, unfortunately, Jack Frost misinterpreted the situation, though. I think he read too much into that.
Yeah, so he goes back to wherever he lives up in the clouds. May have had a geography lesson at this point from the Groundhog, I'm not sure. And begs Old Man Winter to let him be a real boy, like Pinocchio.
Problem is he wanted to be a boy, not a man. That might have been one of his mistakes.
That might be. And we meet the rest of the merry crew. You have Snip the Snowflake Maker. You
Also does circumcisions, perhaps.
Possibly. You have flake flipping snow gypsies.
There's so many of them. They don't amount to much in the end of it, though. The different
They take
divisions.
Snip's snowflakes and they flip them where they're supposed to go because he gets orders from different cities. Then you have Holly, the holiday snowflake or the Christmas snowflake, who keeps the Christmas snow in a special room.
She doesn't work as much as the rest of the crew.
No, and then there's a few others, but I didn't write those down. And Snip and Holly end up playing a role later. But you get introduced to them, and then you get a commercial break. And then he goes to talk to Old Man Winter, and he's mad. Mad as a blizzard, they say. Insubordination. Insubordination. But then Jack Frost flips it. He says it's Father Winter's fault. They can't see his joy. But one girl wants to see him.
Romantic.
And then Father Winter, Old Man Winter, says, okay, I'm going to grant you your wish, but it's going to be a temporary granting. You get one winter of humanity, one season, and you got to grow up and be a man. You got to get a house. You got to get a horse. You got to get a wife.
Well,
I think
bag
there was
of
something
gold.
else.
Bag of
gold. Bag of
gold.
gold. Yep.
You want me to recite the whole logic behind that?
Go for it. But I have to say, the first time I heard it, I thought it says you have to get a horse to bury you.
Yes, that is. You got to get a house. You got to get a house to shelter you, a horse to bear you, bear the load, a bag of gold to sustain you, and a wife to make it all worthwhile.
All right, so I heard bury instead of bear.
Oh, so. Bear. Okay.
I was thinking they have the little duck carrying around the pumpkins at the beginning, so it kind of played into that. Carry the casket.
All right.
And then Snip gives him a pair of scissors to take on the road, so he doesn't forget him.
That have his name written on it, yeah.
Yes.
And by the way, we should just add here, I don't know how Father Winter justifies this, because when we were introduced to Cloud City, apparently they're on back order for a lot of snowflakes, and Snip is heavily overworked, even with all the other staff. So I'm wondering, how do they make this work without Jack Frost, and then eventually without Snip? And I can understand getting rid of Holly, but Jack Frost and Snip are worker number 1 and 2 here. They're top 2 guys. Jordan and Pippin on the Bulls.
No, so he gets granted the wish, so we don't have to come back to it. Old Man Winter sends Snip and Holly down to take care of him over the winter break, just to make sure he doesn't get hurt. So they end up becoming human too. But Jack Frost, he glides down back to Earth, becomes human along the way, even gets an itchy nose. I wonder if it was a sniffly nose, really, but an itchy nose. And he lands and he says, I have words now. I think I almost spoke one. I have bones now. I think I almost broke one.
He does it right in front of his lady.
Man. And when he did that little limerick, I really wished Warwick Davis was voicing him.
Oh, man, yeah. Leprechaun rhyme.
What if he had come down to Earth and become the leprechaun? We could have been a leprechaun origin story instead of Groundhog Day.
You can work that into your Christmas Gold sequel.
Yeah. And then around here, we find out that Ellie is really waiting for a golden knight to return that she used to know as a child.
Pitiful.
Yeah. But he introduces himself. That's kind of a side note for now. But he introduces himself to her as Jack Snip, the tailor.
Jack Oops. Yeah. Oops Snip.
At least he wasn't Jack Snip, the circumciser. That's a horror movie to be made.
I told you. Yeah. All these snip and tucks.
Yeah. So Ellie invites him to stay at her house in January Junction. And I'm sure he didn't get any wrong ideas about that.
All according to plan. There you go.
Yeah. So Jack Snip stays in the girl's attic. That's not creepy. I think that is a horror movie. But he intends to build a house the next day, is what he tells her and her parents. And they say, well, that's a problem. He's like, well, I also need a horse and a bag of gold. And they said, well, that's even a bigger problem. Because the Russian horseman, he has everything in his castle up on the mountain. This frozen mountain.
All the wood, all the gold.
Yeah. And then you get a clever little Cossack song. There's the rub. And you kind of see that Cossack and Jack Snip, Jack Frost kind of have a similar problem, and that they're lonely.
Yep.
Just they have a problem for different reasons. Jack Frost is really good at his job, but he's one of a kind, and people can't see him and the joy that he's having. Whereas Cossack, he is a miserable person who's run off everyone around him, so now he's alone with his machines. And the only person he talks to is the Dommy. There's the rub.
That's is that the best song in the movie? Because most of the music is fine. It just doesn't impress me or linger with me.
I think that's the best lyric, and I don't get tired of it by the end of the song. Whereas the other ones, there was a little bit of cleverness, like in the Imaginary Gift, but they were about a minute too long. So,
There's like 2 or 3 Groundhog songs in this movie.
which is silly, but yeah. All right, so that's when Snip and Holly show up, and Holly is a gypsy now, a little gypsy who got cursed, and I forget what the real Snip's job was, but he's there with a long name. And they decide, Jack Frost does, that they're gonna plan a coup for the next day, and then you get another commercial break. And then they go to the mountain the next day, and so all the friends, all the sprites, and Ellie, and Jack tries to climb the mountain.
You would have thought, no big deal. He was born on ice.
But yeah, ain't working. This is he didn't build this house. Jack did not build this house, and he can't climb that mountain, and he just makes a fool of himself in front of Ellie, and they end up having to go home. At this point, the bad guy, the Russian, sees the girl and intends to woo the girl to be his wife, and that's when he has a little song he sings with a dummy. And I think actually I didn't write the lyrics down, but that was probably as good as the last song if it really was a song. But
I thought that was There's the Rub. Was that not the song when they do it?
I don't think it was. Maybe this wasn't a full-fledged song, but the There's the Rub song, that was the one where you almost have like the Mario pictures, and he's walking by each one, and it's kind of making fun of a different people group about how he could have been ruler over this people, but they all ran off. Could have been ruler over this people, but they all ran off. Anyways, so Jack Frost really embraces Jack Snip at this point, and he opens a tailor shop in the girl's house.
Convenient.
And then, as they get their business up and running, the knight in golden armor shows up looking for Jack Snip. And the girl's immediately infatuated, and we find out that he went to be serving in Camelot, and he has apparently returned.
This is a long time ago. If he was growing up with King Arthur.
Yeah. Now, I think this guy's name is Sir Ravenel Rightfellow. And I don't know if there is historical significance to that name or not.
So they couldn't get the rights to Dudley Do-Right, so he's Ravenel Rightfellow? Raveno? I don't know.
It's spelled Ravenel.
I mean, he's competent. He's just a bit too polished for my taste as a character. It's like, just a bit too much for me.
Yeah, but I think that's the point. I think they're trying to imply that Jack Frost might have a chance because this guy is just a little too much, which I think is a song in a different Rankin Bass movie.
Interesting. You think that was they were teasing the audience that he's going to turn out to be what? Not what he is built up to be?
No, I think he was what he is. He's a golden knight. But, a flawed character doesn't always want a golden knight. They want a little Jack Frost who can't play in the snow without falling down. But I don't know.
Yeah.
So he shows up, gets his cape done, flirts with the girl. Next day's Christmas. That's when we get the Everyone Gives Dream Presents song. Just what I always wanted.
Yeah.
But then the knight gives the girl the present, Ellie. And it's a real present. It's a real rose. And he invites her to the Christmas dance.
It ain't working out.
But then the little dummy pops up behind a trash can like Oscar, talks to the girl.
It's hilarious.
And he grabs her to be a Christmas bride.
I love this scene. And they bring the duck back.
Yeah. So they ride off up to the castle, but the family duck is visiting some relatives and sees her, and the family duck goes and tells everyone. So Jack Frost and the family is pulled along on a cart or something like that, like a sled, by the Golden Knight and his horse.
Because he actually has a horse. Yeah.
Yes. And what's not bow and arrow? What's the thing called?
A lance?
No, the Batman, like
crossbow or the grappling hook?
Yeah, the crossbow. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's got a crossbow thing, and they get to the mountain. And while little Jack Frost is trying to scurry up the side unsuccessfully, the knight uses his crossbow to shoot up into the castle, and he climbs up into it and saves the girl and gets the girl out of there.
He fights all the Knights.
Yeah, takes out the Knights. And then Jack Frost and the real Snip decide, well, maybe we can go help. And they go around to the other side of the castle, and they get caught.
They didn't know he already saved her, did they? They were still trying to get in.
They saw Batman climb the side of the mountain like Adam West, but they didn't see the result up top.
Sad.
Now, the knight is wounded in retrieving her, and they take the knight back to town, the ones who were not kidnapped. And they wonder what happened to Jack Snip and the other Snip. And at this point, the mad Russian, says he's mad, he's upset, he's going to send 1,000 Knights down to destroy the city. And this is where we have Jack decides that he has to do something, but he has no powers. So he gives up his humanity, calls out for Daddy, turns invisible, and whips up the biggest blizzard and snowstorm in the history of time.
It all happened easier than I thought that would. Just
Yes.
And it does not technically cancel the deal either, which makes me think he could have done this at any point when he was trying to woo Elisa and impress the town.
Yeah, I feel like he should have had to be Jack Frost at night and Jack Snip during the day.
If you have an hour and 40-minute movie, you can do that, not a 40 whatever minute special.
Well, gotta do what you gotta do. And he freezes the castle, and the army, which is on its way down, it gets covered in snow, so they're buried. And then the real Snip and Holly decide that there's really no point in sticking around, so they go invisible again too and go back to Iceland.
Sprite Hood.
Yeah, Spriteland.
Sprite
Zero.
Yeah.
And it snows for 5 weeks, and then it becomes February, and then the snow stops. And Jack's like, whoa, we need more snow, because otherwise they're gonna thaw out and go destroy the city.
And his powers are not able to work, which he discovers at this point in time.
Yes. And I believe this is where we have the true origin story of Groundhog Day. As Old Man Winter tells him that he can't just keep winter going on forever. There's order to these things. There's rules. And the rule is we got a groundhog down there. Pardon me, Pete, or whatever his name was. And when he walks out of his house, if he sees his shadow, then it's time for spring. So it's not that Pardon Me Pete has seen his shadow or not seen his shadow, but it sounds like Old Man Winter has stopped Winter waiting to see what is going to happen.
Well, no. As soon as the groundhog comes out of hibernation, winter's over. That's his understanding of the deal.
But he hasn't seen his shadow yet.
Well, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at this point. It's just when the groundhog comes out, winter stops.
But he hadn't come out yet.
Jack Frost suggests an alternative. He said, what if the groundhog were to come out and run back in and go back to sleep? That is his suggestion.
All right, well, I missed that suggestion. So he goes, and he scares the living bejesus out of this little groundhog.
It's a good scene.
It is a very good scene. And he goes full Peter Pan shadow mode. And just the bad Peter Pan, the one from the horror movie, which I haven't seen yet. And scares this little groundhog back into his little cave, or so he thinks. But the groundhog apparently is not a stupid groundhog. It's just a lazy groundhog. And it kind of figures out that this must have been Jack Frost wanting to prolong winter. But he's like, that's fine. I want to go back to bed anyways. So he goes to sleep for 6 weeks.
They don't have an interaction other than the scaring. And I think maybe if there's explanation, it comes from the narration voiceover.
But the narration is the groundhog.
Yeah, but Jack and the groundhog never speak directly that I recall.
I understand that. But the gist of it is the groundhog kind of figures out that he's being scared back in his cave by the magic shadow. But he doesn't really have a problem with that because he didn't really want to come out in the first place. So it's like an unspoken understanding, and that at least the groundhog has figured this out. And we're not quite sure if Jack Frost recognizes that the groundhog. See, at the beginning of the movie, it's implied that there's a deal, but I don't know if they ever actually make a deal.
That would be the missing scene where they actually decide, let's do this every year, so that Jack Frost can have 6 more weeks of winter, and the groundhog can get a little more shut-eye, as he says it.
It's implied at the beginning that they're both in on it, that it's true kayfabe. But at the end, it looks more like the groundhog's just kind of working Jack Frost, which, based off the IQ level of Jack Frost, does kind of align it.
Well, it's probably the origin of his villain turn, or heel turn, to use the heel turn. The idea that he's going to get 6 more weeks longer than normal every year to have fun. It doesn't say what the fun is, but he starts it by taking a sinister appearance, going very spooky.
Yeah.
Beastly ghost.
So after 6 more weeks, the castle starts melting. See, you don't even have to have that part. You could just work. You could go straight here. But the castle starts melting. The roof caves in.
That. Oh gosh, I love it when the roof collapses.
It knocks out the Russian. Jack Frost jumps down. He imitates the Russian's voice. If he dies, he dies. And gets all the Knights to go basically commit suicide by falling down the slope of the slippery mountain. And they become a junk heap, a garbage heap at the bottom. You have the first junkyard, the origin of the junkyard.
So he doesn't imitate the Russian's voice. He imitates the Russian's puppet voice, the dummy voice.
Yeah, he pretends to be a ventriloquist, and he props up the Russian against the window, and he holds up the dummy, and he mouths the words. And
It's funny because he gives his knights orders as the dummy.
yes,
They were
yes.
used to it enough that he could exploit that. By the way, when the roof falls on King Cossack, his eyes are open at first, and I'm thinking my brain is telling me this man is dead. But then the voiceover says, "Well, it knocked him unconscious or whatever," and then his eyes slowly close as if he was getting the command. "Oh, you're not dead, just sleeping. Close your eyes." I'm a little surprised he doesn't die at the end of the movie. I guess there's nothing that he does in the movie that necessarily warrants a death sentence, so that's debatable. You know, as far as how those revolutions would go in Eastern European countries due to economic unsatisfaction.
Jack decides, well, I got a house, I got a metal horse,
Yeah,
I got gold, 100 bags of gold,
baby.
which I'm gonna keep and not give back to the town. But I still need a girl.
Need that wife.
Yep. So a commercial break. And then we see Jack Frost has saved the town. He wants to get the daughter's hand in marriage. He has permission from his father, Old Man Winters, that he has until noon. The original deal still stands, so he has an hour.
Oh, man.
And then so he goes to the town, he talks to her father, Papa, and he asks her, and he says, well, she loves this knight. The only other person I ever heard her say I love is Jack Frost. But she never said it about Jack Snip.
Man, that's an arrow through the heart. And he looks in the door, he sees her in the wedding dress, but it not for him, despite all he did.
And then before he even gets a chance to make a real decision and ask her for marriage, it's noon, and he fades away, invisible.
It's a heartbreak.
And it is. And then Jack Frost is sad. Spring has risen. The girl marries the knight, and he blows on the roses and freezes them. And she says, oh, an old friend has kissed the bride.
It's more tragic because even when she's tending to Sir Rightfellow, she's worried about whatever happened to Jack Snip, and she never learns outright unless she somehow always knows.
So I think she suspects, and that's kind of a cruel twist in this movie as she marries her golden knight, that perhaps she could have had Jack Frost in the form of Jack Snip, but she missed her opportunity. Ugh.
Well,
there's sequel material.
The road not taken. I guess if we want to follow up on Jack's story, we'll have to watch Frosty's Winter Wonderland.
Yeah. And then we get a final song, the exit with the groundhog, the lights go out, and the credits roll. And that is Jack Frost, 1979. There are a lot of other Jack Frost movies, family-friendly versions and not. But this is like a lifetime movie right here, man.
It's weird to me all the Jack Frost films are simply called Jack Frost. Like, I guess it's the kind of thing you can't fully trademark 100%. Anybody can use it.
Now, if you're willing to have a movie that requires a date to be put next to it, it works.
Let's hope they don't try to do two films in the same year. Different studios.
Well, and at least you didn't have a bunch of sequels, so you don't have like multiple Jack Frost 2s and multiple Jack Frost 3s, things like that.
Yeah,
but
it's never earned a direct sequel that I'm aware of.
No. So it's hard to remember all the Rankin Bass movies we did last year, but I like this one. It's fun. It doesn't feel long. It doesn't really drag. I could do without the groundhog, but
yeah,
I still don't quite see the purpose. They could have had old Buddy Hackett play Snip, and it would have really served the same purpose.
Snip is a famous voice actor. Who is he in this movie? Right.
It is Don Messick.
Oh, yeah. Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, among a whole lot of other Hanna-Barbera stars.
Yeah, but so Jack Frost, is he better as a hero or a villain? I feel like he's villain material.
He's more of your trickster, your Puck, or your Loki. I think he's in that mold. An impish elf who plays tricks. I'd say maybe the most famous version of Jack Frost today is Martin Short in the third Tim Allen Santa Claus movie.
What a great character wasted role.
You'll see a lot with Jack Frost. He has the start as a villain, then he has a little bit of a change of heart. I think that's a common thing in how Jack Frost gets portrayed in media, because if you make him an outright villain, then you're making the face of an entire season a villain, and it's hard to. It's just a bad feeling if you're gonna say like everything about Winter is bad because Jack Frost is mean. It's a big risk when you do that.
What are we going to rate this thing off of?
I was thinking snip flakes, snip snowflakes, but maybe we can do
Snipflakes. Circumcised
snip flakes.
snowflakes.
Yeah, I mean it's something there.
All right, well, inappropriate snips. Snipped sprites.
Snipped rosebuds. How about that?
But whatever we do, I think I can't give this a 5 out of 5. I can't really call it a classic because I hadn't seen it before. And if it was a true classic, I would have.
It airs on AMC every year, apparently, but I also had not watched this until last year. First time I'd ever seen it all the way through, and I do wonder why is it not as prominent as some of the other RB classics? And I think it's probably the music. It's just not as good.
I think by the time you get to the late 70s, Rankin Bass was still still producing, but no one wanted any more hits. Part of it may just be there's only so much room in your Christmas season
Right.
to have, must-watch stuff.
You only want to watch maybe 3 of them and not necessarily any more. And that's all the TV could make room for.
I feel like I have a lot more affinity for stop motion than the average person, and I wouldn't want to watch a Rankin Bass movie every night. It's not my 12 days before Christmas.
I'd watch this one every night. I really would. Just that Clang Klaus.
I think they just saturated the market by this point. So even stuff that's good like this or the Leprechaun just wasn't gonna take root, so to speak. So, but I will give it a solid 4. I like it. It's a lot of fun. It's much better than I thought it was going to be. I had pretty low hopes, especially once I saw the Groundhog. Pardon me, Pete. But yeah, I'll give it 4. It's fun. There's really nothing wrong with it other than did they really need a Groundhog Day?
Yeah. So I had wanted to give this 5 out of 5 snip flakes, frozen buds, Knight heads, but I do pause a little bit because the music is just not showstopper material. It's not the kind of movie you want to take the songs and listen to them by themselves. So I probably enjoyed this more than A Year Without the Santa Claus, but I will watch Snow Miser's entrance on repeat infinitely more than I'll probably watch any of these songs, even though I think That's the Rub would be the closest one. I had to look it up.
There's the rub, a dub rub.
The Groundhog gets 2 songs, and that's your complaint about Me and My Shadow is a Groundhog song. Christmas song, I've already forgotten about it. Jack Frost is here, already forgotten about it. Lonely Being One of a Kind, I kind of remember it, already forgotten about it. There's the Rub. Just What I Always Wanted, it's probably the most famous, but I don't enjoy it that much. I find it very pitiful. And then the Groundhog gets the last song, I've Got a Day Named After Me, February 2. And it's not great. And the fact that of this movie, you got 7 songs and 2 of them are about the groundhog. That's a rub on this movie. I got to call it what it is. So it can only max out, as much as I enjoy everything else, at 4.5 frozen buds out of 5 for me.
Okay, that's extra generous, but they have the rub. I think part of the rub is that you got a song about a groundhog shadow, and it's not even his shadow.
Well, he's playing us. It's the intro. He's making you think it's his shadow when it really isn't. It would have been nice to actually have them interact directly at some point in the movie. I don't know that it would make the movie better, but considering how much they were willing to double down on the groundhog, you might as well put that in there. Like the classic handshake meme that you see a lot today. You needed Jack Frost and the groundhog somehow doing that.
Yeah.
It would have been nice, too, just to understand Jack Frost, what he thinks of the whole thing. He missed out on the girl, his one shot at love, and it didn't work out. He was gracious in defeat. He didn't pout. He didn't protest. He didn't freeze the town over in vengeance. He just parted with sweet sorrow. But you'd like to know, is he enjoying his deal? His 6 more weeks of winter every year to play around, and what's he doing with that time? I would have liked to have known that.
Yeah, and I guess he was fine until he saw Frosty get a Frosty girl.
Oh, man.
A woman. And that must have been what set him over the edge to be the portly leprechaun who tries to take Frosty out. But I don't know.
We got to dig into the Frosty universe now, and then we can truly conclude in that great Avengers Infinity War level event Rudolph and Frosty, Christmas in July.
Yeah. Well, that has been Jack Frost from 1979 from Rankin Bass. And yeah, that's I think that's a wrap. Go, and may everyone enjoy their circumcised snowflakes this year.
Woo! Yeah, man. Bye-bye.